I like your background.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Millennial Mrs. podcast. I am so excited because guess what? We are back and we are better than ever. I am Trinae Watson, your host of the Millennial Mrs. And many of you know that I started the Millennial Mrs. podcast to highlight amazing women in our community who are not only living, not only getting by, but are actually thriving. Women who are creating lanes for themselves and saying, guess what? I don't have to do what society says that I have to do. I can do what I want to do when I want to do it. And so I am so excited because I have the queen here today, the queen of the Black suburban mom herself,
Hey, hey,
Miss
hey, hey.
Courtney. Welcome to the Millennial Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I love the concept of the podcast. I just love everything that you're doing. So just happy to join in some good convo, talk about mom things, wifey things.
Yes, yes, I am so excited. So, Courtney is one of my amazing Link sisters. We were chartering members of the 300th Link chapter. And so, we are so excited. We got to go through that process together. And Courtney and I began to bond, number one, over our love for TikToks and making our little videos. And so, I'm so excited just to kind of have this moment have you here. So tell the people, who are you? Okay.
Okay. I like that. I like the way that goes. Okay, so my name is Courtney. And if you follow me on any social media, it's the Black Suburban Mom. There we go. So who am I? I am a mom. I'm an engineer, a Black girl in STEM. I love all things cozy. I will read you down any book that you can think of. I love to give book recommendations. And then I'm just a person who is a Black mom trying to figure out my place in this unique world in suburbia with all of my different experiences. I love art. I love music. I'm a member of the Links Incorporated. I'm also a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So I keep myself pretty active. And probably my most fun activity is being soccer mom to my 11-year-old boy. He keeps me busy. He keeps me happy. But he truly is a representation of all the things that I've prayed for. So, anyways, that's who I am. That's what I do.
I love that. I love that. And so I'm just going to piggyback off this one thing. So you are an engineer. I don't think I realized that you were an engineer. Where did you go to school?
I went to the Great Bethune-Cookman College in Daytona Beach, Florida, now university. We're the Marching Wildcats. We are everything in Daytona. If you want to talk about one of the most wonderful, the most beautiful schools, that school on the beach, it is Bethune-Cookman.
That is so funny. I was talking to one of my good girlfriends, and we were talking about the difference between the PWI and the HBCU. And one of the biggest things is the fact that if you go to an HBCU, when you introduce your school, you have to say the
the
illustrious.
the illustrious. Okay, yes, and
It
that
is
is all
not
that.
just the ordinary. We are going to
Yes.
stand down.
Yeah, so when someone asks you, what school did you go to? Well, I graduated from Bethune-Cookman. That's what we say every time. Okay.
Because it is a difference. Many may have
Yes,
come, but not all have finished.
that's what I was trying to say. So I'm trying to say, yes.
I
So,
love that. And so what kind of engineering is your specialty? So my son is into engineering now. And so that's why
mm,
I'm like, "Oh my goodness, so we're going to have to connect."
yes.
He wants to do computer engineering. So what
hmm
do you
So a little fun fact about me. So I'm a computer engineer by trade. Bethune-Cookman, I was actually the first graduate of the computer engineering program at Bethune-Cookman. So that is actually where I got my bachelor's in. And now I function largely as a system engineer and a technical manager. But I love all things AI. I'm especially interested in AI as it relates to how it supports low income communities and how we can use that to make progress in some of the most technology concerns, like how do we get technology into our school systems? How do we get that into our hands? How do they use it to make new careers and make new entrepreneurs? So I'm specifically interested in that. Yeah, so that's the kind of engineer I am. But really, truly, I'm a system engineer, which means I like to solve problems and anything. And you can apply that to anything, not just like the work that I do professionally, but I apply those same system engineering concepts to how I run my households, how I do my business, how I even do my TikToks. So yeah, I'm a system engineer.
I love that. I love that. I love to see, especially in our community of Black women, STEM. I absolutely love it. So hats off to you, all the
Thank
clapping it
you.
up. So let's get into this. You told us that you are a member of Delta Sigma Theta. We all know that I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority
Yes.
Incorporated. But we are all sisters in
Yes,
the
we are.
Greek community. And so tell us a little bit about how it is balancing being a member of a Greek organization and now the links as
Mhm.
well, and um how does that show up? Like how does it allow you to show up as a wife and as a mom and still, go after the things that bring you joy, like being active members of these types of organizations?
Yeah. So, a little history about Black Suburban Mom as a brand, as a context, is that before that, you might have seen me on social media as Coco Chasing Adventures, and the reason why that got started is that right after to me, I consider myself like a high charging person, right? I would travel everywhere. I was in everybody's, whatever award season, I was all up in the mix, and I started. Then when I had my baby, I thought I had my baby after 30. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, I finally wanted to do this. And then I had postpartum. It really took me down. You're talking about high levels of depression. And I felt like, wow, well, if someone was to ask me today who I was at that time, I did not really have a good definition of that. I was somebody's wife, I was somebody's mother, but I was no longer Courtney. And so in 2017, I said, Courtney, Coco is done being someone who's everybody else is. Coco's going to chase her own adventures. And so that's actually how I really got started on social media, was how do I create a place where mommy is happy and she's doing the things that she wants to do. And she's figured out a way to balance that with the things that are important in her life, like her husband, her career, and her son. And so that's really what was like my number one thing that I pursue. And so how I do that today is, first, I'm really big about setting boundaries. I must be happy first, right? There's a creator I follow, and she says, first thing first, I'm first, right? And so I love that, because what that's saying is that you can't be a good mom if you're not good to yourself. And so I am very big on that. Like, I get up in the morning, I drink my cup of coffee, I drink my water. Of course, I kiss my son, but my son comes at a place where once mommy is happy and ready to deal with him, she's ready to deal with him. Even today, I had a general body meeting and I had to make a choice. Do I go to my son's soccer practice, or do I do the thing that's important to me? I did the thing that's important to me. Now, with that being said, I also have balance toward like how I support my family. So that means I'm very big on schedules, and I also have to be firm with my organizations. Like, hey, I understand that you have this event, but I have an obligation already. And I'm totally comfortable with that. I realize that my value to those organizations, to those people, and to my family is not tied to, those small things. Like, I didn't go to a single meeting. I know that I contribute in all those ways. And so once I became secure in how I value myself and how I contribute to other places, made it easy. But number one, a boundary setter. I'm hard on that. I'm really big on my Google schedule. I play no games about that. We just got a little Cozy-La. Cozy-La is a new little tablet situation. I have a task list. The whole family has family meetings, and on Sundays we say, this is what you're doing throughout the week. Son, you don't get your points until you've accumulated those things. And that's how we run our household. I really run it like a system engineering business, right? We definitely lay down the law. We have our schedule. We sprint and scrum. Those are all software terms, but that's how we handle our household. Yeah.
I love that. You said so much in that, so I'm just about to like dig in and start
Go
pulling stuff
ahead.
out. And this is why I think these types of conversations are so important. Again, I did not know that you dealt with postpartum. I dealt with postpartum after I had my first son, and it was something that I had never experienced it. And so to be so sad after
Mhm.
having a baby when it is supposed to be the most exciting time in your life, and feeling like nothing is making this
Yeah.
shake. Like, I can't make it shake. It won't stop. What am I going
Mhm.
to do? And it was tough. I mean, I was even in the psych ward because of it.
Mhm.
Okay. Like it
Mhm.
was bad. And so I 100% understand that. And I think that is, again, what led me to the Millennial Mrs. podcast,
Mhm.
or not just the podcast, but just the brand as a whole, because I began to think, I can't be the only one going through this. Like,
Absolutely.
we don't talk about this in our community. We
Mhm.
don't talk about the fact that you can have a baby and not be the happiest. We don't talk about
Yeah.
those things, but they are also important. So, one of the things that I say, and you just said it, so I'm going to dig that out,
Mhm.
is you cannot be there for everybody else if you are not there for you.
Absolutely.
On the airplane, what do they say? Put your thing on
Mhm.
first before you do it for your children.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because if you pass out, you can't help yourself or your children.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of moms feel guilty for that. Like,
Mhm.
I just did law school, and I think everybody's like, oh my God, how could you do that? Though you made all these, your children had to make sacrifices, and oh my God, they did. But in life, they're going to have to get used to
Yeah.
this. We teach them at a young age, they need to know about setting boundaries. So if I set that tone as an early age, I think that that's great. So you've touched on like a whole bunch of stuff that
Mhm.
I'm like, yes, yes, and
Yeah.
yes.
I feel like I'm the example, right? So, and I'm gonna tell you, I can see it in my son. My son plays no games. If his friends call him and he has something to go, and say, "Oh, I can't make that," like to hear him say, "Oh, I can't make. I have piano practice today." Because he took the same route. He said, and I went to him. I said, "Hey, you have piano practice, you have soccer practice, and then you need to watch your niece today." So he lets his friends know, "Oh, I can only play an hour because I got things to do." And I like the idea of my son not feeling. He don't have no FOMO for that, right? Because he's decided that a life for him that's fulfilling looks like doing the things that make him feel good, that allow him to be responsible. And we have a thing in our family called the $1,000,000 decision. He knows that the things he's doing today are part of his $1,000,000 decisions for tomorrow. And so to me, that's how I operate. I really feel like sometimes it's hard, right? Because it's not always easy to make that decision, right? Sometimes, it was, and I'll just talk about my general body meeting today. I had to make a decision like, oh my God, if I go to this meeting, I'm gonna have to move a whole bunch of different things around. Da, 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 da. But to me, the $1,000,000 decision was I was able to accomplish a major task that had to do with my organization. I was able to be there for my family, and I was still able to make it on time to be here with you today. So to me, those are $3 million decisions I had to make in order to both be there for my family as well as meet my own personal goals. And so it's just a part of how we have to operate.
I love that. I love that. And so how long have you been married?
I haven't, okay. So I got married in 2008. So what is that? 18 years? 18 years, girl. 18 years. I've been with my husband since I was 19. So that's
Okay.
been,
You
so
met him in college?
he is my college sweetheart. Okay. I met
I
him,
love it.
he was my first class, 8 a.m. calculus. I met him the first class, first day.
You
I
didn't waste no
know.
time. You didn't waste no.
None. None.
I love it. So you guys both were at college at the Bethune-Cookman
That's
together.
right. That's
I
right.
love that. I love that. And so 18 years. So when you think about you being 18 years in as a wife, what are some of like the
Uh-oh.
top
Mhm.
things that you have learned as a wife? What are some things that you have learned over the 18 years?
Still learning. Okay. So I think the one of the things I learned with my husband and I is that people say don't go to bed angry. Okay, that's a true statement. But really what I want to say is that how you feel is a part of reality, but it's not all of the reality. And so it's not so much that I don't go to bed angry or he doesn't go to bed angry, but I allow every conversation to be a collaborative discussion. So we don't have fights, we have discourse that have some conclusion, some truth that we have to arrive to. And it may take a long time to arrive at that truth. And we might have some hurt feelings along the way, but it's never with the intention of like hurting each other. That was important because when I started dating my husband, I was 19, which means and I'm 42 now. You're talking about I've been with my husband longer than I was an adult by myself, right? So I grew up with him really. So I just think that's incredibly important. The other thing, with that being said, I I believe in having your own thing. Every year I go on a trip without my husband sends me on a trip, a vacation. I don't have no babies. I don't have him. It's me and my girlfriends every year because it just reminds me that I have my own life. I am my own thing. I am my own cute thing, you know? And I think between those two things, just us having good discourse and us remembering that we are individually our own persons, it allows me to be good with him. We can be better together because I'm good for myself, you know. So those are the two things I recommend: vacations and healthy discourse.
And the vacations without your spouse. Let's highlight that.
Without the spouse. Okay, this is me and my girls being girls because we're just a girl. Okay.
Yes, I love that. I always say that number one, communication is key.
hmm
And when you have been with someone for so long and you are evolving, I
hmm
think that you have to kind of get creative with um how that looks. And
Yeah.
I think when you have a supportive partner who understands your needs as well, I think that that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
hmm
amazing. So, when you think about you getting, how old were you when you actually got married?
I was 25. I was 25. Yeah. 25.
Okay, I
Yeah.
was 25 when I got married. Well, I was
24,
20,
24, 25. Yeah.
I
Something
was
like that.
24.
Yeah.
I do not highly recommend it, but
Yeah. Same, same. I love my husband though. Wait till you're
right,
30, girls. Wait till you're
right.
30.
Yes, yes. And I say that, and again, I laugh about it because nobody could have told me that then.
hmm
However, I think that it's so important for both husbands and wives to literally know themselves
Yes.
before coming into a marriage.
hmm
And when you get in a relationship so young,
hmm
I feel like you're still getting to know yourself. You know,
Yeah.
I knew my husband before I went to college. And
hmm
so it wasn't like, oh, you about to play around in college. Not to say that you have to like live your life in that way, but I'm saying figuring out what you want, figuring out who you are,
hmm
figuring out
Yeah.
all of those things versus you trying to figure yourself out as a wife, like as a role,
Yeah.
as an individual. I think that it matters.
It does. It 1,000% matters. And I think that's what makes like I think in the early years of us being married, we didn't have no kids and we had a little bit of money because we got a little job. You know, so it was easier. But as we got older, I started to become a different person. He started to become a different person. And that's where as you evolve, you almost have to the truth is, and I would say I fell in love with my husband like three different times. We're talking about the time when I started to like when we first started dating, then it was somewhere around around the 25 to 30 time around when we got married because now we're two adults with income and everything combined. We fall in love because it's a new life. And then it was after my baby, after postpartum, after I became this other person because I didn't bounce back. I became new, and that new person had to fall in love with her new person. And really all that evolving requires like the ability to have discourse and not get angry at each other in a way that means that you don't love each other anymore. So communications, growth. That's also why I tell you wait till you're 30 to get married, ladies, because you really want to have that time to yourself. You really need to discover yourself. I think Trinae's saying the same thing. Like you got a chance to grow up with him and you're happy, but at the same time,
I
I
think
could have used
you could use some time to figure it out.
yeah.
And I think it's so important for you to learn to love yourself. I
Yeah.
think that the way that I thought I loved myself at 18, at now 37, baby, that wasn't you didn't love yourself.
Yeah.
You didn't love
Yeah,
you.
I
No
don't even think
way.
you didn't even know what that really meant, right? When you talk about
No.
self-care then was a mask. No, self-care today looks totally different. Self-care today might look like, I took an extra vacation day, I slept in and out. Like everything looks different now,
The
so
way what I've been saying this year for me, self-care looks like choosing me.
yes.
And that can look different every day. Meaning choosing me today could be me choosing a meal that I want versus
Mm-hmm.
getting the collective opinion on a dinner
Yeah.
idea. Choosing me could be I'm gonna skip the gym. I don't feel like it. I don't feel
Yeah.
like it.
Mm-hmm.
So choosing me could change, but I think it's important to listen to that voice inside of you so
Mm-hmm.
that you can be best for you. So, what is your take on this? I am a strong believer that if you do not love yourself, you cannot love somebody else.
Absolutely. Because what are you falling in love with? What is that better yet, what is that person falling in love with? You know what I'm saying? If you what are they falling in love with the victim. And when you stop being a victim and you start standing up for yourself, guess what happens? You've changed. Who's this new person? That's what happens, right? And so, you can't, not only can you not fall in love with a person truly, they're not falling in love with you either. They're falling in love with a shadow of yourself. They're falling in love with and now a person can love you. I don't think they can be in love with you. They can be in love with who you are at the core. But again, you're going to change so many times. And so again, you got to love yourself first. And you have to define what that means when you say you love yourself. Love yourself don't look like, some people think loving yourself looks like I bought me a new outfit today and I feel confident. But in the meanwhile, you still are healing. You're still dealing with a lot of trauma. You haven't gotten your counseling. You haven't made peace with the worst parts of yourself. You haven't decided that you are good enough, right? And so when you haven't done that, you're still like changing. You're probably being a little fake to people because you're scared what people might think of you. So who did that person fall in love with if you're not your true self, Um, yeah, definitely. Fall in love with
You
yourself
can
first.
you can only fake it for so long because
Yeah.
eventually who you really are is going to
It's
come
gonna come
out.
out.
So
It's gonna come out in an argument. It's gonna come out because you decided you want to try something. Maybe one day you cut your hair off and you really love this hair and they don't like that version of you. All those are ways you're gonna eventually you will shine through, right?
I totally agree. So tell me a little bit about your upbringing. Were you raised in a two-parent household to see a house being ran like this? Is that where you got that from? Or even the communication style with your husband? Did you see that?
So my father was in the service. So I grew up as like a military brat, and so what that kind of means is my dad was always gone. He was in the field. He served, and different war systems. So what I would say is that like my parents grew up in my house was very mechanical. It was very much like these are the orders of the day. So I would say that part of it probably I did see that in my household. But my husband's household is a little non-traditional. His father has albinism and is legally blind. And so his mother was really the breadwinner. So his dad was a stay-at-home dad. So a lot of the roles that I thought that were natural to me in my military household weren't natural for my husband because his dad was a stay-at-home dad. His dad was the one that was cooking dinner. So imagine these two people who have totally different ideas of what a household looks like comes together. And so I think when we started to date, we had to redefine what that looks like and what
I
communication looks
love
like.
that.
And that was, admittedly, that was very hard, right? So, like, my husband manages our finances by an Excel spreadsheet, and I had never seen such a thing. So,
I
very
love
crazy.
a spreadsheet. You're speaking
Yes.
my language.
Okay, girl. It's a Excel spreadsheet. We have Sunday discussions on. I told you it's like a business. Sundays we go through the finances. What was whatever. What was whatever. So in that way we've defined what we've done new. What I will say from both of us growing up in two-parent household is that my parents and his parents were very romantic. I have to say that because my husband and I are really into making sure the romance in our life is good. I want to be a good example for my son. I feel like our parents are both good examples of that. Like my parents are now divorced, but they divorced after I was an adult. But during that time, my dad was very romantic. My mom was very romantic. Buy flowers, take you out on dates, open the door. So my husband is very much like that. I'm like that. I think those are great ways for us those are great role models for us. And I think hopefully I'm showing that to my son.
I love that. Now, you mentioned that your parents got divorced when you were grown.
Hmm.
How did that impact your life? And did it
Hmm.
impact your marriage in any way of
Yes.
like fears? Okay.
Say this. I feel like, okay, I don't know what it's like to be a child of a divorced parents at when they're younger. But to me, it's almost I felt like it was more heartbreaking. I don't want to compare, but it was extremely heartbreaking
Got you.
because it honestly, the hard part, I looked at my husband, I said, if my father can leave my mother after almost 30 years, anybody can leave you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
it felt like I mean, honestly, it felt like a betrayal. And
Mhm.
I love my father. I have a close relationship with him. I love my mother. I have a close relationship with her. but it was very hard to see because it made me feel like the rug could be pulled from underneath you. So we actually, me and my husband ended up going to marriage counseling because my parents divorced. We did. We went to marriage counseling. We talked to each other. We talked a lot about how that trust system was a representation of love, and what did that mean for us, and how do we restore our own trust? What are the checks that we're going to do to make sure that we are still on the same path? And we went, like I said, and this was like during the COVID time. So, I really, yeah, I went to a lot of, like, probably like a year worth of marriage counseling, and that wasn't our divorce; it was theirs. But that's how it felt.
But it
It's very
impacted
hard.
you.
Yeah, it was hard. It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch.
That's understandable. I think that oftentimes we take for granted how things around us impact
Hmm.
us internally, whether
Yeah.
it is drastic as a divorce or even an argument.
Hmm.
Sometimes you can watch something and you like, look what he did, or
Yeah.
look what he
Yeah.
did over there. Like,
Yes.
what is happening? So I definitely think that those are valid feelings and things.
Hmm.
Okay. So we've touched on self-care. So
Yes.
I started doing self-care since I've been in law school. Well, when I was in law school, because I needed stress relievers.
Hmm.
So I found a strong love for a good massage. That
Ooh,
is
yes,
my
girl.
self-care regimen. And then I love to binge watch a good show. And by binge watching a good show, I mean I am a toss-up between a good
Ooh,
FBI
yes, girl. Hmm.
type show, investigation, give me a little SVU, mix it with a little Real Housewives of Atlanta,
Hmm.
um, movie type thing is what I do for self-care. But I love to ask guests, what do you do for self-care? Because one, I might want to steal. And if anyone is like me who struggled with figuring out what self-care looks like, we need some ideas. So come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so I'm really big. So I'm really into the cozy aesthetic. So for me, self-care looks like, I really love like cozy environments. So you will see me. Listen, you will see me hire a cleaner. I'm big on, okay. So I hire my house cleaner is a part of my self-care. She'll be here tomorrow, okay? She'll be here tomorrow. She will wash my sheets. She will clean my house up. Our candle will be burning. I'm gonna put on my sexiest pajamas. I'm gonna put my eye mask on. I'm gonna have a glass of wine. And tomorrow night, I will be relaxed. You will not be able to reach me tomorrow night because that's the first day after my house gets clean, and I love it. So that's a big part of my. So self-care means reclaiming my time, and I do that through hiring a housekeeper, and I'm a big proponent of that. That's my favorite thing. The other thing, I'm really into reading books. I do a lot of book reviews. I love to read a good fantasy romance book, so I'm really into that. It's I don't want to tell nobody what book I'm reading yet because I don't know if I like it. But if I like it, y'all hear about that one. I love a good thriller. When it comes to like any Law and Order, recent His and Hers that just recently showed. Okay, that was really a big deal for me. I really enjoyed that. The
His and
what's the
hers.
new?
Wait, his and hers was the one, the girl, she went back to the hometown
Yes.
and yeah, oh, that was good. That was
Hmm.
good.
Hmm.
That was
Yes.
good.
Yes, girl. So I love it. Anybody, I don't want to have no. I'm grabbing my charger now. I don't want to have no spoilers. But if anybody want to gossip about that, let me know. I would love to talk about that. So, yeah, I love that. I have so many big feelings about what it feels like. That's about a mom, right? A mom has some. Anyways, I'm not gonna say anything else. So I love that. I love that movie. Like I said, I love thrillers, FBI. Back in the day, I used to really watch Murder She Wrote. Okay, so I used to watch
Oh, you
and
taking it
Matlock.
back. You taking it back.
Yes, a Murder She Wrote and Matlock. In my mind, I was going to grow up and be a lawyer or an investigative FBI type person. But then I got good at math, and then I hated to write, so that's how that landed. But
And that's odd because you like to read. So I would have assumed that you like to write as well. But listen, if I wasn't so scary, I would be an FBI agent. I love that.
Mhm.
Like I will some of my favorite movies are like like London is falling and like
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing, like the
Yeah.
president and just give me a Fast and the Furious and we jumping out of
Yeah.
stuff and the bad boys and we're on a high speed chase and
Yes, yes,
give
yes. I
me
love
all of
it.
that, but I don't want to die. So
Yeah. Yes, yes. So it's so interesting. Okay, so I do love to write. I do write. I'm not gonna tell you my pen name, but I do have some stuff out there in the streets.
y'all
But
gotta go find it.
ah, but what I want to say is I don't like to. I am shy about my writing, so I don't, and I'm painstaking. It takes like a long time, so that's why I don't. That's when I say I don't like writing. That's what I really mean. That's why I couldn't imagine. First of all, shout out to you, Miss Lawyer, Miss Attorney, okay, Esquire, okay. So, yeah.
Listen, we hear about Jesus.
Well, I mean, I know you're asking me questions, but we talk about all the things that I've done and all the things that, all the balance. But I mean, you're the queen of balance. How did you go to law school? You have your business, girl. You have a family. You was right with me online. So how did you girl, how did this happen?
Jesus, I say it all the time. No, so when I decided to go to law school, I knew that in order for it to work, that I needed to go full time. And
Mhm.
so I knew because if I would have did part time, it would have been in the evening. It would have took away time from the kids. It would have did all of that. And I did not want them to suffer in that way. And
Mhm.
so I knew that me going full time would mean that I would need to quit my job. So we would go from a two income household to a one income household. But that handy dandy Excel spreadsheet works for
Yeah.
a reason. And
Hmm.
so we did what needed to be done.
Hmm.
And ultimately, I did it. And so much happened after I started law school that if I knew that all of those things would have happened, I probably just full transparency, I probably would have never done it. Um, but I did it and it's done. And when I sit back and I think about it, I'm always like, I am tired thinking about that. Like, it was exhausting. When people are like, I did everything but died. Like, that's how I feel. I also feel like this is why people say get it done when you're young, get it
Yeah.
done before you have children and have families, because when you don't have those responsibilities, it makes it so much easier. I remember like leaving law school and like even my closest friends in law school, they didn't have children. So I remember like we would get out of like an exam or something after we had been studying for days and like we would all go home and they would be like, they went home and went to sleep.
Hmm.
And it would be like, I had to go to football practice.
Yeah.
Like, take
Yes.
a nap
Yes.
for
Yes.
me. Like, and so balance, listen, and much like what you said about the schedule, if it's
Mhm.
not on my calendar,
Oh,
it's
baby.
literally not happening.
It's
I'm
no, it's just
sorry.
it's not possible. It's
It's
impossible,
it's
actually.
not happening. It
Hmm.
has to be on my calendar. I literally have my calendar and everybody else's calendar so that we are all in sync with what we're doing, even down to
Yeah.
birthday parties.
Yeah.
What? Do you know
Birthday
how many birthday
parties.
parties we have? Like
Yes.
the kids school parties, and it's like
Hmm.
trying to balance it all. And full transparency, I have a lot of mom guilt. I
Hmm.
probably buy a lot of things to overcompensate for that mom
Yes.
guilt.
Hmm.
We were a family of four prior to going to law school, and we always would go on trips. We went on several trips a
Yeah.
year. And so when I started law school and we lost that income, it went from going to maybe one trip a year. And
Yeah.
so for me, it was like, I need a
Mhm.
vacation. This is a
Yeah.
lot. And even my children are like, where are we going? So to be all the way honest, I can't wait to get back to that
Hmm.
and us traveling again and doing things. But the scheduling and budgeting is and Jesus first,
Hmm.
scheduling, budgeting. I budgeted
Hmm.
everything down to the T. So that
Hmm.
is why, like in anything that I do, what is the layout? How much is it?
Hmm.
What is it? What are we
Yeah.
doing? Let's plan for it so that we can be
Yeah.
successful. So
Yeah. And to me, when I really think back, on some of the things we have to do to be successful, like you can have this mentality that like I can't do this thing that makes me happy because of my family or my children, or you could like adjust, pivot, organize, right? And I think that to me, if you talk about our superpower, I would say your superpower, probably our joint superpower, is our ability to make it happen. Like, you know what? I'm not going to sit here on this couch and say I can't pursue my dream because I'm a mom or wife or whatever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out a way. And because I'm figuring out a way, my children will know anything they want to do, they can
They
do it.
can do.
Yeah, there ain't no. It's just I'm gonna, ain't no way to do it but to go through it. So that's what we're gonna do, And um, to me, that has totally empowered me, right? Because now success does not look like it happened easy. Success looks like I triumphed over this thing that I really wanted. I figured out a way because that's what we can do. So, anyways, kudos to you, girl. I love
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. But yes, kudos to you. That's why
Mhm.
you're here
Mhm.
because you are doing the doggone thing.
Thank
Like
you.
you are not only in organizations, but you are on e-boards of
Mhm.
organizations. And so you are also, and I'm just going to highlight that because I do think that it's important when you think about ladies who are even in organizations, there is sometimes a notion that not everybody is nice. And kindness costs nothing.
Right.
And what I can say is that you are nice. You are
Oh, thank
sweet.
you.
And you can say what needs to be said, but you can still do it in a nice, respectful way. And that just goes so far. I think about I'm an only child. And so when I grew up and I wanted to be an AKA, I thought about what sisterhood looked like. And a part of
Mhm.
what sisterhood looked like for me was that we were kind to each other. Like, I
Mhm.
guess if we get mad, we going to fight, but like,
Yeah.
we're going to be nice. And
Mhm.
so I love to see when women are nice.
Mhm.
It just doesn't happen as often. And so
Thank
I want
you.
to highlight that. So now, you talked about you running your life and your family like a well-oiled machine. Now, were you
Mhm.
always like that as a kid?
My sister would tell you yes. So okay, so because my father was away a lot and mama worked a couple of jobs, that meant that, how they say Blue Ivy was the family manager? I was absolutely the family manager. Okay. So whatever was going on, everything was organized. And when I say organized, I mean like time and planning and money. Like I was always that way. And so my sister would tell you that I always had a plan for everything. Always. I do think that it probably I've gotten much better because I do think what it will do is that I had trouble when things didn't go the way I wanted it to go. And it going back to that power of pivoting and that power of just like adjusting when something doesn't go your way, that's something that has happened over time. So I've really always been that way. I think I've gotten even, and then the career path I'm in gave me all these tools. So if you're a software engineer, we have something called a sprint and a scrum, which means for 2 weeks, you plan something. A week, you plan all the things you want to get done. And that thing represents like an increment of a big goal. So let's say if I want to save $50,000 over the year, I would break that out into 2 week increments and say for 2 weeks, this is what I got to do to get to that $50,000 goal. And then after the end of that 2 weeks, you would scrum that. You would go over whether or not you did all the things you're supposed to do to get to that goal. And so we really run our house like that. Like we sprint and scrum every 2 weeks and to see if we met our goals and over time. And then of course, then we do it again at the quarter and then the year mark. So does my son like it? Probably not. He probably is over it though. But I've always been kind of like this my entire life, actually. Yeah.
So as a kid, I always had my whole life planned.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I always was very like type A with like a plan. And so it's funny because even when I go on vacation, my
Hmm.
husband says that I like plan fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's the problem with playing fun? I
It's
think
important, okay? Because I don't want to end up on the boat and the boat is ugly. Because then I'm not going to have fun because that's not what I spent all my time for. Okay,
no.
or like it's got to be. I'm that way. When I'm gonna tell you, when I go on my girl trip, you gonna go on a girl trip with me. I actually make a little app, a little Canva app where we can click on it, all the hyperlinks of everywhere we're going, pictures. I put the suggested outfits. I am very much like I will plan it all the way down like that. Like I'm
So that's what
there.
I did. So we're doing Paris for my mom's birthday.
Ooh,
And I
okay,
did,
mommy.
yeah, so I did like a Canva like layout for the days, even
Mhm,
like to us getting there. And I literally put on there everything that we're doing from morning time to
mhm,
night, from the restaurants to, if we're going to another, because we're going to do like get on the train and go to some different places. So like, what's the train? What time does the train come? This is the train that we're going to get on. When we get there, this is, girl, I even have it down to where we're going to get some ice cream.
see? You my kind of girl. You my kind of girl. Take me on
I
trips.
I have literally been on TikTok watching all of these videos about all of the places to go and what to do, and I'm like, so I sent out so I sent out the first draft of the itinerary,
Mhm,
and my godfather was like, I don't know if we can do all of this. Like, we might need to scale it back. Like, we are not thinking about jet lag. We have not thought about
mhm,
anything. And I'm like, you're right. All right, we can scale it back. But I am a plan fun kind of girl. Give me a little plan fun, and it's only fun. It's only funny to me because so I think was it last year? Last year we did Disney and my mom came with me and the kids. And it's so funny because my mother be like, I don't want to even come to the park with you. You really get on my nerves. You want to do all of this. I need a break. I don't want to.
mhm,
I don't. And she says every time she's not coming back again, and then she comes back. But I literally, I'm always like, we got to get on this ride, this ride, this ride, and this is how we're
mhm,
going to do it. The schedule says if we do it this way, this way, this way, we can get done. She's like, well, the kids have to go to the bathroom. Well, they're going to have to wait until we get on this one ride because this
mhm.
ride only has a 25-minute wait and it typically has an hour wait. So we're going to get on this
Yeah, you
wait
better go while it's
now.
opportune. Mhm.
You're going to hold it.
Right. And let me tell you what I think about that, right? Like, so when I was growing up, I used to read like the Babysitters Club, and I really dreamed about what my life would look like. You know what I'm saying? And so when you dream about something and it's finally yours, you want to relive all those moments that you read in the book. And that's kind of how I feel about trips. If you've never been to Paris, or maybe you've gone a couple of times, whatever, but if I've taken the time out to pay for a plane ticket, took time off my schedule. I want to do the things. I would hate to leave there and not have done those things. And I feel that way about life too. I mean, a part of the planning means that I'm able to live in those moments that I've dreamt about. It's a dream come true, you know? So I would hate for me to not be able to, for example, if I wanted to always, I'll tell you, I always wanted to be a link. The night that we finished, I went into that room and I said, I don't care how sleepy you are, get up. We taking all the pictures and all of my green because I didn't come this far to not do the things that I wanted. Why would I do that? And that's how I feel about stuff. I said, so to me, I believe in planning fun and living out those moments. I don't want that moment to pass and I have regret. That's the worst feeling for me. So that's why, that's my
I
style.
love that. I think that is so important. It's so important to think about our future. I
Mm-hmm.
think for me, I sometimes struggle with being in the moment. So,
Mm-hmm.
like for
Yeah.
instance, law school was over, then I went straight into the bar. The
Mm-hmm.
bar was over, and then I went straight into waiting for the results. The results are here, then
Yeah.
I went straight into getting sworn in. Got sworn in, and then it's like, now what? What,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
instead of just kind of just sit in this for a little bit.
Yeah. You're
Like,
right. You're
we sit
right.
in it? Like, how long do we sit in it? And people
Mm-hmm.
keep asking me, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not, that's not me. I'm always
Yeah.
doing something. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what just sitting in
Mm-hmm.
it looks like.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard because when you get there, it's like, when you get to the mountaintop and you look out and you see your view, that's your moment to take that deep breath in and just appreciate that. It's hard though. When you are a go-getter, when you are an ambitious person, it's hard to do that, but it's also part of our self-care. It's also part of our mental stability is being able to have those moments because we can't go 100% of the time. You have to have
Right.
those. You have to force yourself to slow down. But it is hard, right? We're young, so we're going to do it while we can, right? So that's why we want to do that. But we got to force ourselves to slow down and enjoy the moment while we have it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me ask this. If you could go back to your younger self,
Hmm.
let's say 18-year-old Courtney,
Okay.
what would you tell her?
Ooh. Okay. What would I tell 18-year-old Courtney? Okay. I will tell 18-year-old Courtney. Now, I just told you I'm a planner, right? I would tell 18-year-old Courtney to take every risk because no matter what, you can figure your way out of whatever could happen. Um, I think that a part of me being a planning probably had to do with my own anxiety about success. The idea that if I didn't do these steps, that I wouldn't achieve the goal. So there was some risk that I never took, right? So maybe I was an engineer, but maybe I didn't take a particular internship because it was too far away. Or maybe I didn't sign up, I didn't do the study abroad because maybe that wasn't aligned to my plan to go work for IBM or whatever. And so there was a lot of risks that I didn't take because it didn't align to the checklist of things you needed to do to become a millionaire, for example. So I do wish I took more risk. I do wish I had taken, like you said, taken the time to enjoy the moment. Just be a kid in college, just be a freshman and just enjoy this moment. That's what I would do. I recognize that a lot of those things I did lead to where I am today, but I do believe that I could have had some fun along the way. Don't worry, y'all. Don't feel too bad. Don't feel too bad. I'm making up for it now. Don't worry, I'm making up for it. But
I
I
feel
do
like we
wish
got
I
to
would have.
do that. It's
Yeah,
never too late.
it's never too late. It's never too late. So
I
have fun,
love
take
that.
risks.
I love that. I think when I went to college, I was so busy waiting to hurry up and be done. I did
Yes.
not enjoy college. I never went to homecoming. I went to HBCU, but
Hmm.
I did not do homecoming. I did not do the parties. I literally did not go to a college party until my last semester of college. And
Hmm.
so, and not to say that parties are the only thing that college has to offer, but I didn't participate in anything. Like I didn't join clubs. I think I was
Hmm.
in like one fashion show. Um, but I just didn't do anything. And I think
Yeah.
looking back, I wish that I did. I wish
Yeah.
that I made more connections. I wish that I forged
Hmm.
more relationships
Yes.
and just all of the things that I looked at it like, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. To me, just like you said, I was just wanting to be finished. And I had like this thing with perfection. So I was just really trying to be those things. And like I said, I live life by a checklist. I really did. I mean, I wish I had a copy of but I really lived. I was like, okay, freshman year, I'm going to sign up for all the hardest classes. I'm going to be an engineer and then I'm going to do XYZ. I went to the rush for my chapter, Delta Alpha, made line, become the officer, became the president. Like I really had a checklist and every single step had to be done. But I don't know that I mean, college was fun in its own way, but like I said, I really enjoyed my HBCU more as a graduate than I probably did as an undergraduate. Like when I graduated and I went back for homecoming, way more fun than when I was in college.
Right.
Um, yeah, so I just wish I would have taken the time to just have more risk, have more fun, and just enjoy being young while I still had all the best knees. I still have good knees, but I had better
Good
knees.
knees, good knees, good
Yeah,
knees,
yeah.
good knees. So as a person who loves a good checklist,
Hmm.
how do you pivot when the checklist is just not checking out the way that it was supposed to be checked? Because we
Okay.
all know that we are not the only determining factors that go
Yep.
into the checklist. So
Yep.
what happens when you do all of the planning and everything happens but what is supposed to happen according to the checklist?
You know, I'm
It
still
should
dealing with
probably
it.
say your face look like it's saying error, like on the
Yeah,
computer
yeah.
screen. Era,
Yes.
era.
Yes. So I'm gonna tell you what. I'm still growing. I am still growing in this way. My husband he reads a lot of books on Stoicism, and so he talks a lot about that with me. And again, he has a different way of handling. If you meet my husband, he's like very like quiet, very methodical. And but one of the things he says is there's no bad outcomes. It's just an opportunity to change. So he doesn't worry that the bad thing is going to happen. He said it's just a thing that happens, and we're going to do something else as a result of that. So I try to learn from him in that way that if my checklist doesn't go as planned, the question is what is the new plan? And not being afraid to develop a new plan because things have changed, circumstances have changed. Maybe the desired outcome is not achievable for whatever reason. Maybe there's another outcome that's more suitable. And so some of that happens in that sprint scrum thing that we talked about because I have multiple opportunities to adjust the plan. So what I'm going to tell you is that my plan always works out because I always adjust my plan, right? So that's I mean, I'm going to just say it that way. So my plan may not look like it was when I first started, but my plan will continue to adjust. So I just continue to do that. So I can give you an example of that. When I even when I went to college, I went to school knowing I wanted to be an engineer, and I chose this HBCU, and I intended to do the 3-2 program. And in my mind, I was going to go to Georgia Tech for the last 2 years because that's how they did in my HBCUs. But then it kind of wasn't working out, right? I don't know that I was making the right connections. I don't know that I was meeting the right people. I don't know that I was progressing at the pace that I wanted to be able to achieve that. And so I could have called that experience sort of like a failure. Instead, I talked to my professor and we decided we're going to have a computer engineering program. So that's what we did. We had a computer engineering program and that's how I graduated. So what I'm going to say is that the plan works out when you understand your plan can change. It can be flexible, being dynamic and not holding tight to a singular outcome, but focusing on your long-term goal, right? So you have little small objectives along the way that help you reach your goal, and your goal is where you really want to end up. My son plays soccer, and husband uses this example all the time. He says, there's in the first third, there's like the different thirds of a soccer field, and then finally there's the goal. It's the goal, the ball in the back of the net. But before you get the ball in the back of the net, you got to charge that ball from the back of the field all the way to the top of the field, which means you're going to have a lot of obstacles. And so you as a soccer player could have your plan. You're going to go left, you're going to go right, you're going to pass the ball, you're going to strike in this way. But that is not always how it goes because there's all kinds of people who are countering you along the way. There's all kinds of reasons where you can lose the ball. But you know that ultimately you're charging forward. You're moving the ball forward. You're just gonna adjust. You can get the ball back, and then finally you will get the ball in the back of the net. You will achieve that eventually. And so that's how I think about life. So will my checklist always look the same? No, but to me, my plan always works out. It always does.
I love that. I love
Mhm.
that. And I can't stress that enough. I'm a planner, and I think that because I plan for incidentals,
Mhm. Mhm.
I feel like ultimately I plan for the A, the B, the C.
Yeah.
Just it better not be a D. I said
Yeah.
you better fall into
Yeah.
three. So I definitely agree. It's always gonna work out.
It's always
And
gonna work out.
because I'm really big on my faith in God. I always say even when things don't work out the way that I want it, I've never seen God not spend the block for me.
That's right.
So this might not look the way that I was expecting it to look, but that means that he about to really do his big one, and it's fitting to be far better than my A, B, and C.
Yes, that's
So
right.
I'm fine, but I'm learning to take my hands off of things,
Hmm. Hmm.
and relinquishing some of the power and the control and not being so rigid with that. So I love that. I love that. Well, Courtney, I am just so excited that you took the time to sit and talk to me and all of my viewers. And
Hmm.
so I just want to thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule to come to the
Yeah.
Millennial Mrs. podcast. And
Thank you.
everybody, I'm going to have all of her social media contact on the link so that you guys can go and follow her for all of her tips and tricks and all of the things that she has going on, specifically some of her book ideas and her TikToks and she is the Black Suburban
Yes,
mom. And
thank
so
you.
she is the face of what this looks like, okay? We always talk about like the Real Housewives of Harford County. She's doing that thing. She is in STEM, she is an engineer, and we're going to continue to highlight Black excellence at every single level because why? So many people love to see when women can't get along, when we're tearing each other down, and we tend to highlight those types of things. But I like to highlight the fact that guess what? One, we can get along. Number two, me pumping you up for your success doesn't take away anything from me.
Right.
It actually empowers me to know that guess what? I've got a sister over here that I can lean on at any time that I feel like I can't because
Mhm.
she's doing it. And it may
Yeah,
not be the same exact thing that I'm doing, but guess what? If she can do what she's doing, I believe that I can do what I'm doing. Because together, that's what makes the world go round. So thank
absolutely.
you so much for being on the Millennial Mrs. podcast. And everybody, make sure you like, make sure you share, and make sure you subscribe. And there will be more videos just like this. So welcome back. And thank you.
Bye.